Hey everyone, are you struggling with anything? Me too. So I have been trying to work on Inktober this month. It's 2020, and it's been a little difficult for me. And it just sounds silly talking about it, but it's the truth. In this video, I'm going to show some process shots of me working on some Inktober drawings and also some permutations. And it'll be a cool juxtaposition of something I'm comfortable doing and something that's out of my comfort zone. But I'll talk a little bit about my process while I'm showing you the process, and I'll talk about what I'm struggling with. And but before I get into that, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Brian Hoffmeister. I am a visual artist living in Vietnam. I primarily have been working on a project called Permutations for the past, I don't know, 2 years or so, maybe a little longer. And these are all sorts of explorations of a single subject, which is this 30-point shape. It's a teardrop shape. So as you can see, a lot of my work's really precise and a little bit, I don't want to say formulaic, but it relies on some precision. And so the Inktober work that I've been doing is partially a struggle because it's so different from the work I've been doing for the past several years. So my YouTube channel focuses on my artistic practice and also my experience living abroad in Vietnam. I would say it falls more heavily on my artistic process and less on my living abroad because I live in a pretty, not rural, but almost rural area in Vietnam, so there's not a lot to do here. So I spend a lot of my time working in my studio. But if that sounds like something that interests you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss future videos. And it really helps me out and gives me a little happy face when I see I have a new subscriber. So I started out with cutting this little guy running, and basically I just was working on, I wanted to create a collage piece where I had these people running away from the permutation shape. I had done one other one before with this basic concept, and I just wanted to try a different composition and see how that looked. In the original image, these guys were running towards their cars in this big like sort of Grand Prix relay, and I got the image from a Time World Life encyclopedia, something like that, from the 1950s. So it's a really old image. One of them in the finished product is from the Japanese one, not the French one. It's from like a child playing on a playground. The first Inktober drawing I worked on for this video, I have a previous video with some more, but the first one I worked on this week was for the prompt word teeth. And so I just wanted to create a guy with big teeth. And my goal in this piece was to not use a reference so much. I used a reference as sort of like a jumping off point, but I didn't really use it as like the main, like I just didn't copy it. I kind of looked at it for a couple of textural references or something, but mostly I wanted to just use some basic shapes to create a framework and draw it from just kind of my own imagination. I also intentionally was just really fast and loose with this piece because I was already behind and I'm trying to catch up. So Inktober is good for trying to create a goal of like making all of these different pieces, but it's not good for creating a like high quality like works of art unless you're really going to spend a lot of time on each piece. And I guess maybe the way I work, I don't know, it's just tough because, you know, the pieces I make, Permutations, they don't take that long, but they look like they take a long time. And I think it's because I've had so much practice doing them. But I guess they, you know, there's this balance of like, they're taking a long time, but I'm also finding it really relaxing. Whereas I think in other types of drawings like this one here, I'm not relaxed. I'm like anxious about getting it right. I guess that's a lesson to be learned about this. I also worked on the prompt word throw. I did use a reference for this, and it was just like a picture I found on the internet. The composition was in my head before I found the picture out, so basically I like put in pitcher, I think, on baseball pitcher, and like looked for an image that matched what the image in my head looked like, and this was it. And again, I did it really fast, but I was still a little bit off. I think his angle is, he's a little too upright, but you know, overall I'm pretty happy with how it came out. My goal with Inktober is to like have images that you can see what they're meant to be and not put too much time into them, and just see how much I could learn. Not with the least effort possible, but with like, without like, I guess, emotionally investing so much in each drawing that if it's not good enough, I won't feel bad. And I guess that's been my technique, is creating pieces that like I'm neither super proud of nor super ashamed of. It's just something like, okay, these are kind of things that they're exercises, and they're not meant to be like, oh, hey, want to buy this picture or drawing or anything. Another prompt was the word hope, and this one's pretty different from the other ones, obviously. Basically, the first thing I thought of when I thought of the word hope was Election Day in the United States. I don't usually get really political in my work, mostly because it's pretty abstract, but like, also, well, I guess that's the main reason, is my work's really abstract right now. But I do feel very strongly about political ideas, and I'm very liberal, and I don't really want to talk a lot about this, but you know, I just feel that like the current administration is an existential threat to me personally and a lot of people I love, and it's just really hard to fathom that people support the current administration right now. I could just talk for a long time about what I believe and all that stuff, but I feel that part of the problem is that like people are getting too much information that's, I don't know, biased from the mainstream media, from the internet, and I don't know. It's hard to believe that the United States has become what it has, and I don't understand the motives of people who support these really conservative ideas other than fear. And I think that hope is sort of not the opposite of fear, but it's what you have when you find where you're having trouble finding something to love. You put hope there because hope is like the potential for love, I think. It's like, I hope that I can turn this thing around so that I can feel happy again. But I just feel like the trajectory right now is no one's going to be happy for a little while, because even if things get fixed, people are going to need to heal. I don't know. Anyway, this piece ended up taking a long time, mostly because I kept adding details to it. But I ended up enjoying myself creating this, and it was fun. And I added like more watercolor and a pen, like this colored marker pen. So the last piece I'm working on in this video is kind of an older composition that I've done in the past, and I really wanted to do something I was comfortable with, something I'd kind of done before but slightly different, and I remembered some things that I kind of forgotten while I was doing it. I mean, doing this piece is kind of like the opposite of Inktober. It's something that like I said, I'm comfortable with. I was fairly certain of the outcome. But some of the things I kind of forgot about was, like, when I create these permutation shapes with the lines, it's very meditative. And if I'm just doing that and music's playing in the background, my mind can wander and I can think about a lot of things. And I often will think about ideas for other pieces of art or themes for YouTube videos, and I kind of forgot that that's like one of the things that happens when I'm making these, because I hadn't made one in a little while. So I wanted to participate in Inktober because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and it's been doing that. I definitely have been uncomfortable making these drawings, and I've been uncomfortable sharing them. But at the same time, it has helped me grow, I think, and I am not giving up. I don't know that by the end of the month I will have all of them finished. I mean, I really doubt that I will. But I feel like I'm making progress, and I'm learning things about myself, and it's been really inspiring watching other people do it, and but it's also sometimes disheartening, because it's like, oh man, why can't I draw that well? Especially because, you know, I do think that I have confidence in myself as an artist, but there's a difference between me being confident in being a certain kind of artist and being good at everything. And I acknowledge I'm not the best, you know, I've always acknowledged I'm not the best, like, illustrator or drawer. And but it's, you know, when you have a YouTube channel about being an artist, and then you admit that you're not good at drawing, it sort of feels very vulnerable. I was nervous about the color choice for the the gel pen in this piece because I wasn't sure if it would contrast enough. It's like all kind of shades of blue, but I was really happy with the outcome. I think that, you know, the brightness and the sort of reflective quality of the gel pen make it stand out enough, and I like that it's sort of almost like all similar tones. In the past, I've chosen to orient this composition vertically instead of horizontally, but something about this piece just made me think that the horizontal composition looked right. Obviously, if someone decided to buy it, they could hang it any way they wanted, but this is the way I see it, and I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, it's really difficult to share our struggles, I think. But it's like struggle is such an important component of learning and of life, and it's okay, I think. I mean, it's obviously okay to struggle, but I think it's like more than okay to share when we're struggling. And you know, I just think of like a baby and learning to walk, and at first, you know, it stands up for a second and like wiggles and then falls back down, and that's, you know, almost anything, any new undertaking is like a baby learning to walk. You just have to try, and you're not going to succeed at first, and you have to like do different things to build up to it. And if we didn't struggle learning how to walk, we wouldn't walk. That's just the way it would be. You wouldn't just wait until you thought about it enough and suddenly could walk. You have to practice. I got more excited about this video when I decided that it was about struggle. I just think that it's something that I'm experiencing right now, so it's real, and I'm sure lots of people are experiencing it because the world is really in a weird place. And I hope that if you're struggling with something right now, this video lets you feel less alone and puts it in some perspective that like struggle is just natural, and that it's the thing that needs to happen before you get better. So I hope that by the next time I see you, which I hope I do, you are struggling a little less, or if you are struggling, just try and remember that it's necessary to struggle to learn and to grow. And if you are feeling like you're struggling, do something you're familiar with that you know you enjoy, because there's a balance that you have to look for. And that's what I do. If I'm struggling too much, I'll be like, I'm gonna go do something I know that I'm good at and that I enjoy. And it helps me to go back to the thing that's difficult. And that should always be an option. So I hope that watching this video you see that struggling is a part of life, and if you are struggling with something, just remember that we all are, and hopefully that helps you, gives you a little solace, because if anything, I know that when I watch other people's videos, it feels very reassuring to see people not being perfect. And I think that YouTube is great for that, because they're, you know, Instagram is filled with perfect shots of people doing amazing things, and YouTube has a lot of videos of people creating content that they show how vulnerable they are. And I'm not saying one is easier or harder or more important than the other, but I know for me it's very reassuring to see people struggling or not being perfect. So yeah,